Welcome to The Lava Flow, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Find us at thelavaflow.com. Here's your host, Roger Paxton.
Thank you for joining me this week from the state that is still the #1 state in the country for opportunity. According to U.S. News & World Report, this is the show that will bring you the people, places, and events that everyone in the Liberty Rebellion needs to know. You can catch me on Twitter at the Lava Flow Pod. This is episode 96, Spreading the Gospel, and it's Tuesday, July 10th, 2018, when there have already been more than 618 people killed by police this year, and the United States debt clock shows us at $21,196,500 million in debt. What's rustling my jimmies this week? You're about to find out. Let's do it to it. I am so sick to death of libertarians, or probably more accurately supposed libertarians, who somehow think we should hide who we are, essentially lying about our stances, and then at some undefined, opportune time, we spring the truth on people about what libertarianism truly is. Sadly, I hear this sort of tactic mostly from people who can't even define libertarianism in any literate manner to begin with, which makes it even sadder. What do people who call for this sort of tactic think people are going to think if we do this to them? Do they think people are going to be thrilled and happy that we hit our final destination in the mud and muck of moderation? How would you feel if you only heard conservatives talk about liberty and security for years, and then, once they had sucked you in, they revealed that by liberty and security they mean liberty for white men and security through bombing brown people all over the world? Talk about used car salesman tactics. This is dirty and disgusting, and it is a lie. We should never hide who we are only to spring it on people unawares. We should be proud of who we are and the political philosophy that we stand for. We should be proud that we stand for the only philosophy that can achieve true liberty for people. The only 100% consistent liberty philosophy in the history of the world. We should be proud of it and scream it from the rooftops. But even more importantly, we should be spreading that gospel to the four corners of the world. Now, I know these words, spreading the gospel, have interesting connotations for some. As a former Pentecostal preacher myself, I spent years spreading the Christian gospel to keep people from burning in hell in a supposed life after the one that we currently live in. However, in this context, I speak of spreading the gospel to keep people from burning in hell in this life. Yes, this is an accurate analogy in my opinion. We have sinners, statists, who are living a lie, hurting people left and right through their actions, their votes, their silent apathy, and their active support in a lot of cases. These are the people we need to be reaching with our gospel. These are the minds that we need to change. These are the hearts that we need to change. And these sinners, through their actions, are causing people to be hurt in this life, through war and bombing and theft, and through punishment for crimes where no one has ever been harmed. What would you do if someone were holding a gun to your wife's head right this second to steal her purse? Would you kindly talk to that person about how they are wrong and should not do what they're doing? Fuck no, you wouldn't. You would tackle this person or hit them or blow the bastard away. Something, anything to stop this aggression happening against someone that you love. Well, guess what? There is someone holding a gun to your wife's head right this second, trying to steal her purse and your wallet at the same time. They're doing this each and every time they vote for their pet project, or their new tax, or their new regulation that you don't want to abide by. They're doing it every time they call men with guns on you when you're doing something that they don't like running a lemonade stand or shooting fireworks. They're doing it every time the tax man comes to your door, metaphorically of course, to collect their money from your paycheck, or your mortgage payment, or your shopping experience. And this is why it's so fucking important to not hide our true intentions or feelings when it comes to discussing these issues. Not only will it be seen for what it is, milquetoast declarations of liberty, but it will make no one understand the truth at all. We are not here to compromise. We are here to free people. As William Lloyd Garrison said, there must be no compromise with slavery, none whatever. Nothing is gained. Everything is lost by subordinating principle to expedience. So in other words, we're not calling for an audit of the Federal Reserve. We are calling for the abolition of the Federal Reserve immediately. We aren't calling for some cutback on homeschool regulation. We are calling for the abolition of the Department of Education and government education completely, immediately. We're not calling for a fair tax. The only fair tax is zero. We are calling for a complete abolition of taxation, immediately. We aren't calling for medical marijuana. We're telling you to get the fuck out of our cannabis and out of our bodies completely, immediately. Will we achieve all of this immediately? Not likely. But should we ask for it all immediately? Absolutely. Again, as William Lloyd Garrison said, urge immediate abolition as earnestly as we may. It will, alas, be gradual abolition in the end. We've never said that slavery would be overthrown by a single blow. That it ought to be, we shall always contend. Yes, this language is severe, but it serves the purpose of letting people know where we stand, so we don't pull a bait and switch on them later as many want to do. There's nothing more disappointing or infuriating than thinking you know where someone stands, than having them say, well, while I wanted open borders, I started only with the reasonable expectation that we would get easier access to green cards for people. We should start with the premise that people are free, and as such, they should be free to travel and move across arbitrary lines on a map as long as people allow them on their property, period. This is the end result and our ultimate goal. However, we would accept easier access to green cards as an interim step towards the right direction. And by accepting that, I don't mean we'll stop calling for the freedom of travel. I mean we will accept the interim step and still call for the final end goal completely, immediately. As soon as you accept mediocrity, then you've lost. One final quote from William Lloyd Garrison, and it's one of my favorites. I've read this one on the show before, and I likely will again many times over in the future because it means so much to me and speaks to one of the reasons that I do this show. I am aware that many object to the severity of my language, but is there not cause for severity? I will be as harsh as truth and as uncompromising as justice. On this subject, I do not wish to think or to speak or to write with moderation. No. Tell a man whose house is on fire to give a moderate alarm. Tell him to moderately rescue his wife from the hands of the ravisher. Tell the mother to gradually extricate her babe from the fire into which it has fallen. But urge me not to use moderation in a cause like the present. I am in earnest. I will not equivocate and I will not excuse. I will not retreat a single inch. And I will be heard. And if you want to be heard as well, speak truth from your heart, not milquetoast nuggets and lies about our end goal to appease people. Do not equivocate. We are right, and we will win. Have you subscribed to the Lava Flow on iTunes or any mobile device yet? Then what's wrong with you? Go to thelavaflow.com/subscribe so you don't miss a minute of the show. And while you're subscribing, make sure to leave me a 5-star rating and review the show to help others find our podcast. thelavaflow.com/subscribe.
It's time to shake up your podcast feed, folks, by subscribing to Lions of Liberty, the only libertarian variety show out there. Spend Mondays with me, Mark Claire, as I feature in-depth interviews with great names in the libertarian community and fun roundtable discussions.
Electric Liberty Land with me, Brian McWilliams, every Wednesday, your weekly dose of comedy, culture, and liberty.
And Felony Fridays with me, John Odermatt, where I expose injustice in the broken criminal justice system.
Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and at lionsofliberty.com.
What's in the news? The news you need to know from a libertarian perspective.
In the age of consent news, a 27-year-old Cleveland man faces between 15 and 30 years in prison for allegedly producing child pornography, but no children were harmed by his actions. The man merely took consensual, sexually suggestive pictures of his 17-year-old girlfriend when he was 20. The age of consent in Ohio is 16 years old, so it was completely legal for the man, Edward Marrero, to have sex with his girlfriend. It was a crime, however, to photograph her in the nude, because the federal definition of child pornography covers images of anyone under the age of 18. According to Cleveland.com, Marrero accidentally admitted his conduct while on the stand in federal court, testifying in defense of a roommate who was also facing child porn charges. As soon as Marrero had finished testifying, the feds arrested him. FBI agents later interviewed Marrero's ex-girlfriend, who confirmed that she was 17 at the time the pictures were taken. A conviction will force Marrero to register as a sex offender and could land him in prison for up to 30 years. According to the U.S. Department of Justice's Guide to Federal Child Pornography Law, a first-time offender convicted of producing child pornography faces fines and a statutory minimum of 15 years to 30 years maximum in prison. Under Ohio law, which also sets the cutoff for child pornography at 18, Marrero would have faced between 6 months and 8 years. It defies all reason that a man could go to prison for 3 decades for taking a sexy picture of a teenager who was deemed fully capable of consenting to having sex with him. This is a travesty of justice, a violation of consenting adults' sexual freedoms, an abuse of mandatory minimum sentencing, a blow to states' rights, and an absurd waste of the FBI's time. But that's government bullshit for you. In some good or bad cops news, Des Moines, Iowa police received hundreds of fireworks-related complaints, but authorities didn't issue a single citation. Des Moines police received 521 fireworks-related calls from midnight Wednesday to 8 a.m. Thursday. That's nearly double the 270 calls they got last year when they were legal for a small amount of time. Maybe last year people didn't call the police because they thought, well, there's really nothing they can do about it. And this year they're like, we're calling because it's illegal now and they can put a stop to it, Des Moines Police Sergeant Paul Parizes said. But even with the increase in the number of calls, Parizek said police did not write any fireworks citations Wednesday night or Thursday morning. Most of the time, we had a conversation with folks and reminded them that it's illegal to possess them, but it's illegal to set them off in the city limits, and they understand. Police encouraged you to call if you hear or see fireworks, and they hope that'll make people put the fireworks down. Parizek said, do you want to be a good neighbor, or do you want to be that person that gets the cops called on you? Look, while I'm thrilled that these cops didn't drop a single citation for this nonsensical law, I'm disturbed by 2 things. First of all, who the fuck are these 521 busybodies? And why the fuck do they think it's okay to send men with guns to people, families, and even children for doing something as innocuous as shooting off some fireworks? Who the fuck are these cowards who are too chicken shit to step outside of their house, have a conversation with their neighbor on decent terms, and come to an agreement together instead of calling the gang in blue to do it for you? Fuck busybodies in the neck. Secondly, who the fuck are these pigs who are encouraging people to call them for innocuous things? Are they that desperate to be needed that they want people to call them over such nonsense? Are they in that much of a need for job security that they want to answer every single call from a bunch of fucking busybodies? Fuck these pigs in the neck, too. This reminds me of the widely shared meme on the 4th of this year. Plans for this Independence Day? Get in my registered car to drive to the store. Show my mandatory government ID to purchase the beverage that I want to consume. Go to a licensed fireworks stand. Also show my government ID there. Pay taxes on all the items listed. Drive slow enough to a town where fireworks are permitted. Celebrate freedom. One cryptocurrency project that I'm most excited about right now is ZenCash, with privacy, anonymity, and security done right. You can read all about ZenCash at thelavaflow.com/zen. Now look, I've read a ton of white papers on crypto, and this is the first one I've read that mentioned voluntary and voluntarist not once but 7 times. These are our people, and they are on the right track to mix great technology, excellent marketing, and awesome uses for their product. These guys get it, and they understand what crypto is all about. Now, this is a project, guys, that I believe in 100%. So much so that I have staked some of my own Zen to run a secure node on their network. So don't miss out on checking out this awesome project at thelavaflow.com/zen. In wasted tax money news, a case of taxpayer dollars being wasted on government office furnishings is now on display in West Virginia, where Governor Jim Justice and state lawmakers convened a special session this past Monday in order to hold the offenders, which includes at least one state Supreme Court justice, supposedly accountable. One of my supporters of this show sent this article in to me, so thank you so much for doing that. Extensive reporting by Kenny Bass with ABC Channel 8 Eyewitness News has documented some of the most opulent expenditures, which include a couch in Justice Alan Lowry's office that costs more than $30,000 for a fucking couch. Other furniture bills for Lowry's space include $16,374 for 8 office chairs, a $2,560 coffee table, and $6,409 for window cornices and blinds. And then there's the most unique part of Justice Lowry's office, a custom-made wooden medallion built into the floor, with each county cut from a different colored piece of wood, and Justice Lowry's home county, Tucker, in blue granite. This cost taxpayers $7,500, about a quarter of the total cost of the floor. As eye-popping as many will find some of these expenditures for Lowry's office, Justice Robin Davis one-ups her colleague. The renovation of her office was the most expensive of all of the justices' chambers at $500,278, $500,000. Most of that, $433,105, went to construction costs. The modern look of Davis's office, however, requires extensive stainless steel, glass, and woodwork that vastly increased the bottom line. Davis's biggest taxpayer-funded furniture expenditures included an $8,000 office chair. Bass, the reporter, was able to get a hold of Justice Davis to ask if she thought $8,000 was a lot to spend on a chair. Davis's response: "Well, it's probably a lot for a chair, but I have arthritis in my spine, and it allows me to sit there for hours on end, and I chose the chair." Jesus. When Bass asked Davis to explain the 2 floor rugs totaling $28,194, she said, "This is an Edward Fields rug. It's a high-quality rug, and it will last the taxpayers of the state of West Virginia for another 50 years. This disconnect is just amazing, and frankly typical of our rulers. Our money is not our money, it's their money, to do with as they please. They're not good stewards of our money because they don't have to be. They know we'll make more for them, and if we don't, they can just print more. But, at least for now, like they have twice recently in West Virginia, they'll just raise taxes more to compensate for it. And the proof of that is that West Virginia lawmakers have recently approved regressive tax hikes, which include the tobacco tax increase approved in 2016 and the gas tax hike approved last year in 2017. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. One of the largest reaching Liberty programs today is Free Talk Live, with a 3-hour radio program 7 nights a week on more than 180 radio stations across the country. They are so influential on talk radio that they are the number 27 radio program in the country, according to Talkers Magazine. They also have a daily podcast that's been voted Best Political Podcast 5 times by podcastawards.com. The hosts of Free Talk Live are street preachers for the ideas of liberty. They take the message of peace, liberty, and cryptocurrency to the masses on the radio, where they are not preaching to the choir. You can listen via podcast or live via audio streaming or the Twitch or YouTube channels at freetalklive.com. I listen to their podcast myself every single morning when I get up to get a fresh perspective on news and very, very strong libertarian perspectives. Make sure to add them to your feed at freetalklive.com. In some Libertarian Party news, the LP held its biennial convention last week, and, as is to be expected, some good and some bad came from it. The best part of the convention is that the Libertarian Party became the only notable U.S. political party to stand unequivocally for sex worker rights and in opposition to cops caging people for consensual sex. The party now officially supports the decriminalization of prostitution, according to a new plank in the party's political platform. The plank reads, "We assert the rights of consenting adults to provide sexual services to clients for compensation, and the right of clients to purchase sexual services from consenting sex workers." The previous party platform made no mention of sex work or prostitution. The language of this new amendment was drafted by sex workers themselves, and LP delegates rejected a similar amendment in order to make sure to approve the sex worker penned version. The LP's move comes the same week that America's other most popular third party, the Greens, explicitly rejected a platform that protects sex worker rights. This is awesome news, and frankly, it's just about the only awesome thing to come out of the entire convention. Another interesting tidbit to come out of the convention, though, is that Arvin Vohra lost his bid to be re-elected as vice chair for the LP. And many people object to the severity of Arvin's messages on social media. But as I'm sure you can tell from my Jimmy segment above, I approve of Arvin's messages. He does not sugarcoat what libertarians stand for. He doesn't equivocate. He does not excuse it. Period. I respect that from Arvin. And because of that, I was pleased to see that his next move after losing his half-hearted bid for re-election is that he has announced at the tail end of the LP National Convention that he's running for president. Vohra joins long-term libertarian activist and serial arrestee Adam Kokesh, an Iraq War veteran who's running on a platform to dissolve the federal government, as the two biggest LP presidential candidates to officially announce. And this is exactly what I mean about Arvin not equivocating. On Thursday, he tweeted, "On the first day of my presidency, I will pardon those in prison who have neither harmed anyone nor stolen anything. I will start with Edward Snowden and Ross Ulbricht. Next comes all nonviolent drug users, all nonviolent drug traffickers, all nonviolent drug kingpins. Anyone that's in jail for cryptocurrency crime and gun possession where they didn't actually hurt anybody." Now that's what I'm talking about. Arvin also said, "My number one goal is to end the welfare state and abolish the income tax. I'm going to be using my campaign to spread that message on the policy level, but also to help people realize there are so many ways to reduce government without changing policy, including opting out of government schools, including using cryptocurrency, including using the power of jury nullification." Now these are 100% messages I can get behind. And finally, post-convention, my good friend Tom Knapp created a new website, whoisbillweld.com. It will be, I hope, an ever-expanding expose on Bill Weld, his anti-libertarian and anti-freedom positions, and why he should not be president. The site states, "Libertarians were right to be skeptical of Weld in 2016 as the party's vice presidential nominee. He went out and campaigned against the party's platform, vouched for Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton, supported the Republican opponents of Libertarian candidates for lower office, and generally damaged the Libertarian Party's brand. Now he's back, apparently eyeing our party's 2020 presidential nomination. This time we have 2 years to take a hard look at William Floyd Weld. We can examine his life and his record, from his days as a U.S. attorney covering up for FBI mob moles and the Iran-Contra conspirators and helping Rudy Giuliani create the prototype for today's surveillance state, to his anti-gun big government governorship of Massachusetts, to his betrayal of the New York Libertarian Party's trust in 2006, and finally to his damaging performance as our 2016 vice presidential nominee. If libertarians are actually paying attention, Bill Weld will not be our party's presidential candidate in 2020. So let's pay attention, not out of dislike for Bill Weld, but out of love for freedom and an ambition to put our party's best foot and face forward." Fuck yeah, Tom. I love it. My only concern on the site so far is that it's light on content at this stage. It has a couple of very interesting articles on Weld's actions in the 80s that were reprehensible and decidedly anti-freedom, but it needs a bunch more content. I'm sure Tom would take people up on helping him add content to the site. I really wish I had time to help him, but if you're interested in helping him, contact him at his website, napster.blogspot.com. That's KNAPPSTER.blogspot.com. And make sure to tell him I sent you. Exercise your free market muscles by going to thelavaflow.com/support and giving a per episode donation of as little as $1 an episode. Or use Bitcoin. Get exclusive content, rewards, and help the Lava Flow become fiscally neutral while providing you more content. thelavaflow.com/support.
This is Chris Spangle, and I am the host of We Are Libertarians, which you can find in iTunes, Google Play, or at wearelibertarians.com. We are a podcast that brings you all of the irreverence that modern politics deserves by examining current events from a libertarian perspective. So please, check us out at wearelibertarians.com.
Ask me anything. Roger will answer your questions about, well, anything. Do you have a question for Roger? Email ama@thelavaflow.com or add your question to the latest AMA thread in the Pax Libertas Productions Facebook group.
It's been a while since I've done an AMA segment, so here we go. Today, we're going to talk about insurance to start off with. Two of my listeners, both of whom are personal friends of mine, asked questions about insurance. I admit that I'm no expert in this matter, but I'm going to give this a shot anyway. The first of those questions is from Rompshire. From an insurance perspective, what sort of things do you think resonate with libertarians in terms of protecting their valuables and families? And what sort of things do you think insurance companies overlook or are not serving the libertarian community well? The second question is much longer, from William B. back in Arkansas. I've heard you detail how national defense in a voluntary society might be run by insurance companies, and I find this concept very interesting. You also detailed in another episode that insurance companies might be integral in assisting individuals and businesses determine with who they wish to associate or allow on their property. I realize this is purely theoretical, and that there really isn't a working model for how any of this would occur, but I'm compelled to ask. If the insurance companies run the armed forces and give people personal ratings for the purpose of making them viable, wouldn't that make them a de facto government? Not throwing stones or naysaying, just genuinely curious as to your thoughts. Guys, first, thanks so much for your questions. So to try and tackle these two together, I fully believe that insurance can and will one day provide many services that the government does today. I know Rob's question is coming from a more practical perspective based on the world that we currently have now because he sells insurance. But I just don't know enough about the industry to speak on what it provides today or what it could provide today better. However, I fully do believe that insurance will replace many government services in the future, as Williams mentioned, and I have in the past as well. The reason that insurance will not become de facto government is simple: choice. I will have the choice of whether or not I want to pay for the services provided by ABC Insurance Company. Hartford did not hold a gun to my head and force me to pay them for my homeowners and car insurance this month. I chose to. Blue Cross, likewise, didn't force me to pay for my health insurance. I chose to do that as well. And if I find fault with either of these services, I can choose to drop coverage at any time and go with a competitor. More choice. So if ABC Insurance is not providing me with the protection I desire, or if XYZ Insurance offers better service for cheaper, I'm free to choose to leave ABC at any point. So simply, the reason insurance companies will never become de facto governments is choice. My next question comes from Jason C., who asks, is voting defensively justified? Jason, I used to believe that it was. After all, if a measure is on the ballot to increase my taxes, surely I can use my vote to defend myself from such actions, right? That's justified, right? Today, though, I say it's not. Voting does nothing more than encourage the bastards. We've been doing this for centuries, giving legitimacy to the idea that other men have the right to rule over us as long as they allow us to participate in that ruling every year or two or four. Stop encouraging the bastards. I would love to write an incredibly intelligent and mind-changing discourse here and why I'm right, but men much more intelligent and much more convincing than I am have already done so. So, seeing no reason to duplicate that effort, I will point you to the resource that changed my mind, so much so that I'm turning that written resource into a complete audio resource as well. I've spent the last few months and will be continuing to spend the next few weeks on reading the non-voting series of articles from voluntarist.com for my podcast, Essential Libertarianism. Many of these are short episodes, as short as 5 or 10 minutes each. Some are a bit longer, but you could get through the entire series in just a short few hours. You can listen to the entire series at essentiallibertarianism.com/non-voting. Make sure to subscribe as well so you don't miss a single episode in the next 10 or so on this specific topic. It is a treasure trove of information. I really hope this helps, Jason. Thanks, guys, for all of your questions. I still have a small handful of questions left in my queue that I'm going to touch on in my next AMA segment, so be on the lookout for that one in a couple of weeks or so. Thank you for listening to the show this week. As always, I need to thank my favorite muse, Jessica, for her help with the show. For the show notes to this episode, where I put links and other information that's been on the show, go to thelavaflow.com/96. Holy hell, guys and gals. I asked for help, and did you all ever step up? Thanks to you guys, I went up $22 per episode in just 1 week. That's fucking amazing. First, I want to thank Tyler R. for upping his existing Patreon pledge from $2.50 to $5 per episode. Awesome, Tyler. Thank you so much for continuing to support the show in such a huge way, brother. Secondly, I need to thank Mike D., Chris R., Dottie S., William P., Craig D., and Paul O., who all became first-time pledgers at $1 each per episode. Wow, guys, that's amazing. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Next, Mark W., a good friend of mine going all the way back to high school even, and the current gubernatorial candidate for the Libertarian Party of Arkansas, started a first-time pledge of $2.50 per episode. Thanks so much, Mark. Make sure to check out his campaign at markwest4governor.com. And last but certainly not least, I need to thank Ted S. and Jim J., who both stepped way the fuck up and became new $5 per episode supporters of the Lava Flow. Holy shit, guys, there are really no words for that. Thank you both so much. And, Jim J. sent me a quick email after he started his pledge, and it really, struck a chord with me, and I wanted to share that with you guys. He said, "Hi, Roger. I've been listening to your podcast for quite a while. I've told many friends, including my son, that they need to listen to this podcast. It's by far my favorite. You literally speak for me. I'm very pleased that you have the courage and fortitude to speak your mind and the truth and expose our evil government for what it really is. Hearing that you lost your job was all it took for me to finally become a donor. I don't donate to anyone but to you, sir. You are the most deserving I can think of. Keep it up. I really appreciate what you do. I love you, man. Hope it helps." Dude, I love you too, and I love every donor that I have. You guys are what makes this happen, not me. I couldn't do any of this without the love and support of so many awesome anti-statists. So thanks to Tyler R., Mike D., Chris R., Dottie S., William P., Craig D., Paul O., Mark W., Ted S., Jim J., and all the rest of my awesome supporters. I'm at $287 per episode, or 57.4% of the way towards my next goal of $500 per episode. Thanks for all your support, guys, really. Remember, when I hit this next goal, I'm going to be upping the content I bring you from half an hour per week to a full hour. I know you want more content from me, and I want to give it to you. So add your pledge today to help me bring you twice the lava flow that you're getting today. So please, go exercise your free market muscles by going to thelavaflow.com/support and giving a per-episode donation of as little as $1 an episode using Federal Reserve notes through Patreon or Bitcoin through Coinbase. I want to be able to bring you that content soon. So make sure to add your donation today to help make that happen. Sadly, I have no Apple Podcast reviews this week. So if you have a minute and you want to hear your review on the show, please go to thelavaflow.com/Apple and leave me a rating and a review. All the cool kids are doing it. Thank you to everyone who's left me a rating and a review so far. You guys rock. To all of you who haven't, can you guys go help me out and go leave a review for me? Go to thelavaflow.com/Apple to do that now. Until next time, keep striking the root.
Thank you for listening to The Lava Flow at thelavaflow.com. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe now at thelavaflow.com/subscribe. This has been a Pax Libertas Productions podcast.